Well, hello and welcome. I'm glad that you're here with us as we continue our chronological read through of the Bible. We've been reading in Isaiah about the devastation and the destruction that the northern kingdom is going to experience and the disciplining that Judah will endure. Today's reading is going to come from Second Kings, or at least we're going to start in Second Kings. And we're going to read about that experience and we're going to witness Hezekiah's, well, actually, his initial weakness of faith, and which was then followed by really a great act of trust in the Lord, a tremendous example of trusting in God as he waits on Yahweh to miraculously turn away the Assyrian army that's laid siege to Jerusalem. Now, God had given the northern kingdom into the hands of the Assyrians as punishment for their unfaithfulness. But the Assyrian king, King Sennacherib, he didn't want to stop there. He didn't want to stop with just the northern kingdom. He wanted to conquer Jerusalem and Judah as well. At first, Hezekiah sought to appease Sennacherib by giving him many of the riches of Jerusalem. He even stripped the gold off of the doors of the temple and so on. But when Sennacherib decided that wasn't enough and he laid siege to Jerusalem, then Hezekiah turned this over to the Lord. He actually took a letter that he had received and laid it on the altar of the Lord and said, Lord, help us. We need to be rescued. Um, and the Lord indeed did. He responded. First, he had Isaiah go to King Hezekiah and explain to him that Yahweh, was going to rescue Jerusalem. That he was going to drive Sennacherib away. And at night, God did that. 185,000 of the Assyrian army were killed overnight by the Lord. They obviously beat a hasty retreat. And Sennacherib himself, then, once he returned home, was killed by one of his sons. So that deliverance is there. And that's basically what you're going to be reading in the Second Kings portion of this today. Then we have three Psalms that we're going to read. Psalm 46. It's a brief psalm and it praises God. God, who is our refuge, our strength, a very present help in time of trouble. Actually, you're going to be familiar with this particular psalm. Surely this psalm fits the trust in the situation that we had just read about. Um, Towards the end of the psalm, verse 10, you're going to come across a phrase, be still and know that I am God. Be still in that, be still there. We often domesticate that. Actually, it's, be still, know that I'm God, kind of like as though God's entreating us to relax. But that's not what this is at all. This is a rebuke. It's rebuking. It's really be still. Um, a rebuke to the restless and raging world that seeks to always go its own way rather than to obey God. So the rebuke is be still, know that I am God. So that's what's going on there as you read through it. Psalm 80, the next psalm that you're going to read, was likely written during the Assyrian campaign or maybe immediately thereafter. Um, the Assyrian campaign against the northern kingdom. That's why you have the references to Ephraim, Benjamin, and Manasseh. Surely many refugees came from the northern kingdom into Judah, praying for restoration and peace, as this psalm so eloquently does. So that's the context of what's going on with Psalm 80. And then before you read Psalm 135, take a minute and imagine going to bed at night surrounded by this massive Assyrian army at your gates, and then waking up in the morning to an eerie silence. 185,000 of that army mysteriously slain that night, and the balance have returned home. There's no trace of them. Well, there's plenty of traces of them, I guess, but they're not. They're not there. They've just fled and left stuff behind. That's the power of Yahweh. Yahweh, whose praise you now read, for there is none other like him. Again, as always, I pray that our time together is helpful, sets the stage for you as you're doing your readings, and helps those readings to be meaningful and understandable to you. Look forward to gathering with you again the next time.